Hey, what's going on, everyone? My name is John. I'm a filmmaker slash creator and your host for Make Limited Podcast, where we talk about how to change our circumstances when life happens. In other words, when life gives you lemons, make lemonade. Today, we are talking about do it now, not later. All right, what's going on, everyone? This is your host, John. I'm super excited to be here today to talk to you about Do It Now, Not Later. Welcome to Make Limited Podcast, everyone. I'm so glad you joined us today. I am beyond excited to talk about this topic because it's been on my heart and I've been debating to talk about it, not to talk about it, to really, it's something that I think in my own heart, something that we all need to hear, right? Because not only have I applied this to my life, but I've seen it in so many people's life and how it has worked, right? And I mean, it's a pretty simple message, as simple as you can put it. Do it now, not later. And I'm pretty sure you've heard this before, right? You've heard it maybe in times of like, do it now. Maybe a mother or parents, to their kids, do it now, not later, right? Because, then you're going to have a bunch of stuff that you have to do. And so that same principle of do it now, not later applies to us in life today. Wherever you are at, it applies. Do it now, not later. Okay, whether you are starting something, right? Let's say, for example, and I talk about this a lot, if you're starting a career and, you're thinking, let's take, for example, the typical examples of, what, I want to be a doctor, but, it's going to be 8 years and I don't know, I'm just going to, want to become something else in the field, maybe like a nurse or something, right? And not that we're, doing anything to any precision, but what we're saying here is when we don't do it now, but then we regret it later. That's like another thing that we tell ourselves after we don't do it, right? And so I've heard this so many times in my life where people say, well, I want to do this, but I don't know if I have time. And it's really interesting how that comes to play in so many of our lives that brings disappointment, brings ruin, brings destruction, right? Without us noticing. For me, it's like an infection, it's something that you get and you don't pay attention to it, and then it gets worse and worse, and I've seen this through like spider bites a lot, where people don't pay attention to it and then all of a sudden it just gets worse. And I've seen it with so many things, especially changing the subject because I don't want you to picture in your mind that. And I'm pretty sure you've seen pictures on the internet about those things. So let's just go into vehicles, right? When you don't pay attention to your vehicle, you don't put the oil, you don't check it, you don't do that, and you expect every 3 months, 5 months to go to the mechanic so that they can do it, but you don't expect it yourself. Well, as the years go more and more and more, you start realizing that there's something wrong with your vehicle, right? And maybe you were keeping this vehicle for more than 3 years, maybe you're keeping it for 10 years, I don't know, it's all in your budget. But let's say, for example, you're keeping it for 10 years. For those 10 years, you just take it to the mechanic, you just take it and you take it, do the regular stuff, oil change, change the wipers, fill up your water, check your oil every 3 months, 5 months, right? But yet we're not paying attention to those little things, little noises, little cracks, little weird things that the vehicle starts doing. And we neglect it in our lives. We go to, let's say, for example, we go to like a simple place like what is it called? I just had it in my head. We go to like an auto store, right? And we check it and we see what's wrong. We're like, okay, how much is gonna cost? Okay, it's that much. I don't know. Okay, I'll think about it. And then you leave, and then more time passes and more time passes, and as it keeps on passing, it keeps getting worse, right? We keep on seeing it. It keeps getting worse, and we're like, I don't know if I want to. It's getting more expensive. Ah, man, it's so hard, and it just keeps going. And by the time we know, it breaks down in the middle of the highway, and we're like, my goodness, what can I do now? And it's gonna cost me $3,000 when it was just costing you $200 in the beginning. And we do this a lot with a bunch of stuff, and here's some examples. I saw this on a Instagram post actually, and it was just an example of a person talking about what we like to put off, right? And so this is a great example. He puts on this, and he puts start a business. It's about $1,000. Too much. That's too much. Buy a new iPhone. No problem. Gonna buy it. Healthy groceries, $100. Ugh, that's too much. It's too much for healthy stuff. Dinner and dessert, $100. No problem. Watch Netflix 2 hours, one more episode. Okay. Learn a new skill. 2 hours again. I don't know if I can do that. So, we look at all these opportunities that we have in our lives, and we decide to put it off, and yet we forget about that one principle that would literally save your life. Do it now, not later. And I've seen it even in my own life. I tell myself, and most of you can relate to this, right? You say, well, I'm going to eat healthy, or I'm going to, start exercising so I can start being healthy. And you do all this stuff, you buy all these things, and you're going to say, tomorrow, I'm going to do it tomorrow. Tomorrow, I'm going to start. Tomorrow, I'm going to do it. If there's one thing that I've learned in my life when it comes to like business deals relating to exercise as well, if you don't do it now, it's not going to happen. It's not going to happen. Yes, let's say you wake up the next day, and of course, again, it's a consistent thing that you have to do, right? That's the main key. However, we say we're going to do it tomorrow, and that tomorrow turns into like another tomorrow and another tomorrow. And the fact that we don't do it now, it turns into a prolonged, just a disaster waiting to happen. We're prolonging it and prolonging it. And we seem to do this as humans in pretty much every case that we can possibly. If it's something that, and I saw this earlier also, it has to do with the health as well. And I saw in this process where people would rather take more medication. And it was an illustration, a picture where it said it had medications, vaccines, and all this stuff. And it had a whole line lining up because there was two persons, I guess, like standing clerks, whatever. And there was a whole line for that. And then like a life-changing style was a guy who was just there reading the newspaper or whatever, and no one was lined up there. This is where the process comes into. We're overweight, and we just rather get more medication. We rather get more medication. I'm not saying that medications don't work. I'm not going against medications. I'm going to anything like that. But what I'm saying is that when more people say this part of in life, and I always want to correct people when they say this, when they say, I got to do more. I got to do more. I got to do more. And I asked them, have you just done? Because so many times in our life, we want to come on the aspect of, I just need more. I just need more. I just need more, right? And of course, this is connection to do it now, not later. Because we wait, and we're like, no, we just need that extra more. We just need more. I have $200 right now, but I just need a little bit more so that I can, have enough to pay it. But that enough turns into later, and then that enough turns into other later, and you see something else that you want, and you spend $10, and you spend $20, and you spend $40, and that $200 starts going down little by little when you could have just, boom, have done it there, and then earn that money back. And this is what happens constantly in our lives, and And sometimes we think that, oh man, something's wrong with me, something is doing this, something is doing that. And I want to come to a conclusion. Well, not a simple, one simple conclusion that when you don't do it now, right? What happens is that you start building on that. It's just like mold. It just catches when there's that moist and heat. It loves it. And that's what happens with our characters. And this doesn't happen because we just don't do it, right? It doesn't happen just we don't do something and oh my goodness, failure. No. It builds on. It builds on our character. It builds on what we eat. It builds on how we speak to ourselves. One of the biggest things in our lives that sometimes we belittle is the way we talk to ourselves. And I actually made a podcast on that. So I think it should be a good time to go and listen to that podcast because talking to yourself is so powerful. So powerful in the sense of an example of a plant. It was studied that when a person would speak negative to a plant, the plant would die. When a person would speak positive to a plant, the plant would live. And that is so ironic because when we speak to ourselves, we're not automatically dying in that process. But what we are doing is we're putting that load of negativity in our life. And it just becomes heavier. And we like to mix it with anxiety. We like to mix it with stress. And we like to, mix it with different things that are happening with us. And it's just like a ripple or a dominoes. We start blaming this. We start blaming that. It's the food that I'm eating. It's the movies that I'm watching. It's the music that I'm listening to. It's this. It's that. It's this person I hang out with. They always want to party or they always want to eat out. It's this, this, and this. But when you come to the realization that you are that person, it is all in your hand to take control. It is all in your hand to take control and to do it now, not later. This is why it's so important. This small, simple principle of do it now, not later, super strong, super powerful. Why? And I'm telling you, it's gonna be a huge help to your life when you do it now, not later. Again, we go back to that example of the doctor. You know what? We decided to, instead of doing it now, going into the process of 8 years plus 10 years. 8 years plus another 2 years, right? By 10, 12 years it takes to become a doctor. We go a different step, right? And it may not be a doctor. It may be, you decided to change your career or you decided not to go for your dream because it was a little tough. But yet 8 years, 10 years pass, and either you have moved or you've been in the same position for those 10 years with no growth. Yes. Do it now, not later. Why do it now, not later? Because it benefits you. It helps you stay healthy, mentally, physically, okay, even spiritually. It helps you. It helps you so much to do it now, not later. Imagine if you would have just taken those 8 to 10, 12 years. Yes, it would have been long. Yes, you would have felt that you were spending 10, 12 years of your life. But in the end, you became that doctor. You actually reached your goals and your dreams. You went for that career. You went for that business that you wanted to open. You did that one thing that you were, my goodness, it was going to be so much hard work, but you did it. And you took those 8 to 10, 12 years to do it. You learned, you gained a skill. You're immaculate on what you're doing. And you gain those things because you did it now. Not only does your pocket profit from it, but the people that you love profit from it. The people that are around you. Not that you're going to go around and give money to everyone else. But the point of what I'm saying is that you're not going to be at a place where you're going to be trying to find a job or trying to do this or trying to do that or just a bunch of stress are coming in and it's just so overwhelming that you just got to take a break. from everything. But it all started from one choice of negligence. I said that completely wrong. But one choice that you decided not to do. You decided not to do it now. A year passed and you're like, oh, I do it tomorrow. I'll work out tomorrow. And instead of having that progress in 1 year and being super fit, you decided not to. You're in the same place or probably worse. Do it now, not later. It's super important. It's a simple principle, but it's going to help you elevate your life. It's going to help you be and motivate you and inspire you to be a better human. This is why I say this, because when things come unexpectedly, you are prepared. This is why it's so important. Your body is prepared. Your mind is prepared. And yes, there are things that that happen to us unexpectedly, regardless of how healthy or how amazing we are, right? It happens. But for you to be prepared and to be ready for anything is a plus. It's a gift. And not only that, but you get to enjoy life. You get to enjoy the fruit that you planted from the seeds that you planted. You get to enjoy it. And that's the beautiful thing about doing it now, not later. It's the most beautiful thing that I have learned. And this goes in every process. Again, career, health, business, little things like maybe you're young listening to this podcast. Maybe just, cleaning your room and cleaning your house, or, keeping your cars clean, or making sure that you're doing great on every process that you are going into, checking it off. Super, super important for your health to do it now, not later. There's this one thing, this concept, talking about cleaning, and it's something that I learned as I grew up going into college, because, in the high school time and middle school time, it was a learning time. But it really didn't hit until I got to college and I was alone by myself. And I was able to experience the cleanliness. I was able to experience the organization part of it and do it now and not later. And this is what I learned. What I learned was the first part of it all is going to be the toughest. This is cleaning. You can apply this to other things in your life. The first part of it, when you first clean, when you first have to clean every single thing in your home, apartment, your dorm, maybe your room that you're renting, whatever it is, the first time you clean it, it's going to be the hardest. But every time that you go back to it and clean it, because I have a system that I do, okay? My system it's a little crazy, but that's my system. I do things daily, weekly, and monthly, and yearly. That's the way I set up myself to clean my home, right? So the way I do it, it's every day there's sweeping, there's mopping, and there's cleaning the restrooms and the kitchen. Every single day, okay? And that's... that includes that. That's the main things that we want to keep clean, right? Second thing, weekly, and I'm skipping over things here, but weekly, we do the dusting. Weekly, we do, let's see, for example, the blinds. We do, let's see, some organization in the pantries and organization in the closets. Just stuff that maybe takes longer, not longer, but stuff that doesn't need to be cleaned every single day, right? Because you're not there every single day. You're not putting yourself physically there every single day. Weekly. Monthly are things that, I guess weekly, again, every 2 weeks, we cut the grass, right? And depending on how it's raining, okay, etc. Anyways, so you get the process. We have a process of how we do things so that we can clean it every single time. Every week, every day. And the first time is always the hardest. But the more you start doing it, the more you start cleaning it, the less you actually have to clean. And that's the crazy part. because every day we clean, every day we sweep, and it just seems like every day we just pick up a little bit less. Every day we pick up a little bit less, and it's crazy. It's crazy how your home can stay clean like this when you have a system set up. Now, not many people live with a system, not many people can have a system, but I highly encourage for you to find a system that works for you. This is the way that it works for me. And it's worked so well that it makes my time more productive because I'm able to do things for a longer period, because now it just takes those 10 minutes, 20 minutes, then it would take 2 to 1 hour of cleaning, right? And then sweating and just trying to clean and taking a shower. Now it's just very simple. Boom, boom, boom. Okay, now I can go back to where I needed to do what I needed to do. And this is how do it now, not later happens, because you start creating systems. You start creating different ways that work for you personally, and that you can pass it on to others. That you can pass it on to your family, your friends, your kids, your where you work. All of that can be applied because it works for you. And that's the beautiful thing about doing it now. This is what I learned from just a simple cleaning system process. That was it. If I divide things and I do it constantly, if I do it with persistence, if I do it routinely, it gets easier, it gets better, it gets faster. And that's what happens because you actually get better at doing it. Not sloppy. That's not what I'm saying. I'm not going there, go fast and just whatever, finish as fast as you can. No. You do it right so that it gets easier as you go. You get faster, you get better at it, because as humans we learn. We take that knowledge and we use it. And once we understand it, we apply it, and we have the wisdom to keep moving forward. This is the power of do it now, not later. It works on every part of your life. On every part. Not one is missed. And I'm telling you, if you do this, if you do it now, not later, you're gonna benefit from the seeds that you plant in your life from those do it now. And when it's time for it to bloom and just you reap your fruits, right? It's gonna be well worth it. So remember, do it now, not later. All right, everyone. Thank you so much for being here. You have reached the end of this podcast. I'm super excited that you were here with us on talking about do it now, not later. And I hope that it's inspired you, motivated you to be better humans in every part of your life. I'm telling you, it's going to benefit you. It's going to put you at a different place, that it's an elevation that you have never been before, just by simply doing it now, not later. So once again, everyone, thank you so much for joining us. This is your host, John, with Make Living Podcast, and we'll talk to you on the next one. Peace.